Let's make a short, punchy kick inside a faceplant. Okay, so the first thing I think I want to do is set up our groups and our generators. So for our first generator, I'm going to go ahead and add a analog, and then for our second group, I'm going to go ahead and add a sampler. Also for our sampler, for the output, you want to click on envelope, and then I'm going to rename this Transient. And for our first generator, I'm just going to go ahead and click on a sine wave. And then for our modulators, I'm going to add 2 new groups, and this first group is going to be modulating our sub and a shaper table effect, so I'm just going to rename it. And then this second group is going to be automating the overall volume of our kick, so I'm just going to rename it volume. And then for our effects, I'm just going to add a group inside of lane 1 and a group inside of lane 3. This is just going to be for our shaper table, and this is going to be for post effects. Alright, so now we can start shaping our kick. And for our sub, I'm going to go ahead and insert an LFO table. This LFO is going to be modulating the harmonic, so I'm just going to go ahead and modulate that by quite a bit. I'm going to also go ahead and turn off the modulation for this LFO, and I think I'm going to turn the rate up to 8, and so I'm going to turn this up a bit more. And then I'm just going to come in here inside of this LFO and create a shape kind of like this. Something like this. Oh, I guess it would help to have some MIDI laid out. I have it set to G0 for the MIDI. Then I'm just going to come back over here and tweak this a little bit more. There we go. Okay. I kind of like the way that sounds. And then for our transient, instead of just doing, you could just do white noise, but I actually just grabbed a hi-hat from one of my sample packs. And what you want to look for is a hi-hat with a very fast attack. Okay, so this sample should work just fine, but let's see. I'm gonna have to mess with the root note since it's pitched down. Oh wow. Okay, well, that kind of already sounds like perfect. Actually, I am just gonna put a high pass filter on it real quick. Wow, that's perfect. And then for the envelope output, you want to make sure the attack is set to 0. And set the sustain all the way down so it makes like an envelope shape, kind of like this. And then personally, I don't have like the decay set to a certain value. I just I mess with the decay a little bit when processing each recorded kick, because sometimes I like it when it's a longer decay, and then sometimes I just like it really short. I'm gonna actually leave it probably around like 50 milliseconds. But yeah, I like to experiment with the decay to try and get a different sound. And also the root note kind of changes the pitch of our transient. We just have to see what it's going to sound like first, because we're going to be distorting the kick a lot. Alright, so the next thing I want to add is our shaper table. And so for that, I'm just going to come over here, click on the shaper table, turn the drive up by quite a bit, and then mess with the frames. So I think I had it like around, maybe around 50 or so. And then now I'm going to modulate it with our first LFO table right here. And so I'm going to modulate it by 100%. I'm going to turn the mix down all the way. And so yeah, that's just going to distort the beginning part of our kick. I'm going to go ahead and adjust the mix and kind of just play this back. Alright, so around 36. You also want to adjust the volume of our transient. So I just went ahead and turned it down a little bit. Okay, so now I want to work on the post effects. And so the first thing that I went ahead and added was a shaper. I'm just going to make a shape kind of like this. Just going to smooth these out, actually. These corners. There we go. Then I'm going to go ahead and turn the drive up by quite a bit. And then just mess with the mix as we're playing our kick sample back. And so, of course, all the way at 100%, it's going to be super crushed. but I don't know, maybe that might sound good. Well, I mean, I could use a kick like that probably in a song. Very, very punchy. Maybe I'll turn the drive down a little bit. Let's see, I'm gonna go ahead and adjust the shape a bit more. Alright, so yeah, I have the drive at 8 and I have the mix at 28. So you just pretty much want to tweak the drive and the mix until you get a sound that you're satisfied with. And then the next thing that I went ahead and added was a slice EQ. And so I'm going to get rid of like those boxy kind of frequencies. So maybe like around here, which is I think it's almost 400 hertz. So I'm going to turn the Q up by quite a bit and turn the gain down. So you have the cutoff set to almost 300 hertz or around there, and then the gain at -17. I'm also going to go ahead and turn the decay down a little bit. Then I also went ahead and added another shaper, and I did a bit of a smoother shape, kind of like this. And I set the mix to around 22%. And then finally, the last thing that I added was a gain snap-in. I turned it to %. And then now for our volume modulator, we can go ahead and add an LFO for that, turn off the modulation. Now, so I went ahead and set the rate to 8. And make sure your gain snap-in is at 0, so there's no volume coming out. And now I'm just going to modulate it by 50. Then for the LFO shape of our kick, or for the volume of our kick, I did something like this. Of course, it's going to be a little bit faster, so kind of just make a shorter decayed kick. I also went ahead and did a little dip around the transient so that way you can hear it a little bit better. I'm just going to go ahead and adjust the fade of our kick with the LFO. I think I'm also going to turn up the drive a little bit more for our second shaper. And then I'm also going to go ahead and come over here and put a limiter on our audio track. And I really want to push the volume into this limiter, so I'm going to go ahead and add another gain and just boost the gain snap-in by 5 and like slowly turn it up from there. And I think I'm also going to go ahead and turn up the decay of our transient. And so yeah, we're really pushing the volume into the limiter just so it can like smash our kick. Now let's see. And I think I'm also going to go ahead and turn up the volume a little bit of our transient. And then now I'm just going to go ahead and record this in a separate audio track. And sweet, that is how you create a short punchy kick inside of Faceplant. And of course, before I end the video, I also want to encourage you guys to go ahead and tweak the parameters inside of your preset, because it might sound good like now, just hearing it played back alone, but when it's in context with a song, like right now I just recorded this and put this inside of a little loop here. Sometimes it might not sound like the way you want it to sound. And so when I first started this sound design session, I added a little bit more crunch to the kick. And you can kind of hear that, and that's because of the transient. It's a lot of tweaking, so even if you have to, you can just go ahead and drag the MIDI instead of the audio sample into your track and adjust the parameters to how you want your kick to sound. So yeah, for this kick that we made, I think I want more of the transient to come through, so I would just go ahead and turn the decay up. And then maybe I might even mess with this. But yeah, it's a lot of tweaking, so again, I encourage you guys to, open the preset and mess around with the knobs and the values to get the sound that you prefer. But yeah, with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Adios.